And greetings. Today is April 10th, 2025. If you're sharing a birthday today with the Honorable P.J. Patterson, former Prime Minister of Jamaica, who is 90 today, happy birthday to you as well. And if not, we say blessings, blessings, blessings. Hmm. Yep, yep. So, wondering if having some technical difficulties. So, if you are, yeah, I don't know. If not, and all is well from your end, then big up yourself. So, if you're on to Reggae Global Radio, I want to say big up to you. For those of you on the YouTube, thank you for tuning in. For those of you on TikTok, the same holds true. What you gonna do? Yep. So that being said, want to take this opportunity also to say that today is going to be a very, very, very interesting show. Interesting for all the right reasons, and the reason clearly is we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. The topic entails everything from, as you know, two things: temptation and what God has planned for you. I think that it is necessary to have this conversation. Um, Blessings, Carol Allen. Big up yourself to um, all those who are tuned in so far. I didn't advertise, and here's why. Even though lately I've been advertising a lot, but here's why I didn't advertise. This is a heavy topic. Many persons um, may have an issue with the topic. Temptation is a very, very interesting one. Yes, Lexi, you forgot the envelope, and I will put it back in my bag. But I tell you, these modern day attorneys, you see, they forget things so easily. Still high, Lexi, though. Anyway, uh, to be accurate is what I should be saying. But as for, I'm thinking that for whatever reason, something is not right with the stream for Reggae Global Radio. I'm also wondering. Also wondering if at this point, yeah. So I'm now hoping that it's corrected. No, it's still saying the same thing. So um, not gonna let that delay me any further. So again, my respects to to all who is currently tuned in. Greetings, everyone. I said yes, so you've spoken to her to not to put it out there, but oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I did have conversations. He's doing much better. Respect for that. All right, so again, I'm gonna speak on the two um temptations versus God's plan. And I'm gonna share a story with you. So I went to church on Sunday in Portland, and we're at a time when many decisions will have to be made and many things are happening in the space locally. Um, I promise you, this is not a political show, but the prime minister says he's a chess player. So he has meetings with America and he touts what a good relationship they have. And then 10% tariffs come. They say crime is done, but extrajudicial killings are way past 100. So um, if life is something given to us without knowing where to receive it, and the constitutional right to life and liberty is one enshrined in the Constitution, which you mustn't, it must not be taken away unless it's demonstrably justifiable to do so, then the overwhelming amount of extrajudicial killings is always going to be something to look at because there must be accountability. So while it is that we are very much happy that crime reduction is taking place, if we look at the statistics in Jamaica, one has to be concerned that the loss of life remains extraordinarily high. I don't think that anybody's life is more valuable than the next. So even those persons who allegedly are bad men, um, their lives should not be taken away from them except from judicial pronouncement. The Constitution speaks of the doctrine of separations of powers, and I think powers to forfeit constitutional protection should only come from um, adjudication, decisions from the court, um, trial by jury, trial by judge alone, a verdict of guilt, exhausting appeals right up to the Privy Council, which remains the highest court in the land. Um, in the absence of these things, there are many things that we can speak about. Now, I can only speak from where I sit to say that as a human rights attorney, um, I will always advocate for protection of life. I will always advocate for protection of liberty. I will always champion the cause to ensure that constitutional rights are not violated. And I will always pay attention to the treatment of persons placed in classes that make it palatable for persons to um, disenfranchise them and harm them. So, for instance, and I'm compelled to speak about it. A young man in the Manchester area is, and it's not, I can say also I know one from Westmoreland, I know one from St. Andrew. Many young people who would have found themselves before the court, a judge of competent jurisdiction would have offered them bail with reporting conditions. Upon having reporting conditions with strict accountability mechanisms, including the police station to which they report has a duty to go and check on them when the curfew orders are in place. So at a minimum, they are being supervised while they're out by a station. Members of the JCF are responsible for them and their conduct and their actions while on bail. In comes this death squad. In comes this secret, unknown crime fighting tool mechanisms that clearly have people on a list, allegedly, and they go for them and they just execute, allegedly. It appears that way because, in the absence of um, body cams and this new use of mask, um, covered, no numbers on the badges of the officers, law-abiding citizens who have sworn to protect and serve are not identifying themselves. Jamaica has become a very terrifying place to live. Now, I can speak for majority members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who are above board. The problem is that when we are in small island developing countries, there will always be situations where there are leaks and slippages in the cracks that causes even the best, like for instance, in a most noble profession, you have attorneys stealing land, attorneys doing things that's unbecoming of an attorney, for instance, taking clients' money, falsifying documents in the middle of a trial, um, things that touch and concern the public who rely on the expertise of lawyers. But instead, um, those who disenfranchise clients, especially when it comes to land transactions and the hopes and dreams of owning land. And because you're from the ghetto and you have money, they think you shouldn't have it and they just take your property and do all kind of things. Those persons aren't a representation of the noble profession, that is a cadre of attorneys with integrity and good character. They even give out a good character certificate, and good character is of no. I am honored to be a part of such a noble profession, and because of integrity, which is a self-check mechanism. And I can tell you, for instance, we are going into an election, and the prime minister and all his ministers and all his members of parliament have not signed the code of conduct, leadership code of conduct, which deals with the oath of and evidence of integrity and good character. So integrity, especially unquestionable integrity, which is subsumed into good character. There can be no doubt that when people shy away from display of integrity, which I believe that to be an officer and even a member of the Jamaica Defense Force, integrity is paramount because you will be faced to make decisions that touch and concern the constitutional rights of people. You'll be forced to make you'll be forced to make very, very tough snap decisions in terms of the liberty and life of the citizens on of the country that you are have sworn to protect and serve. So in the instance when temptation reaches these people, like temptation when you hold the purse of a country and end up with 28 bank accounts and get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, unable to explain yourself. Don't take it for granted, you know. When Jesus was on the cross after them string him up and Pontius Pilate wash him hand clean, because it's safe to say Jesus never got a fair trial. But his jurors were jurors of his peers, and they said, "Give me Barabbas." I could tell you a whole thing about Barabbas. Um, if you know the story of Barabbas, you know that when they swap in prisoners and those prisoners come out, the ultimate end is that. So if you're going around and people calling you Barabbas, it's not a good thing. But the Jesus reality is that he stood on the cross, stand up, wide open, Michael Jackson, yeah, that kind of thing. And to his left and to his right were thieves. And him say, what you do, brother? He say, I'm a thief. So truthful. Look the other way and say, what you do, brother? He say, I'm a thief too. He say, God, which is his father, forgive a thief, but not a lie. So you see the lesson in that is it is not so redemption and rehabilitation is not a foreign concept, you know. One is expected that when you are caught, you step aside and you make amends and you fix yourself and you do all that is necessary to rehabilitate and heal and come again. Right? That is what is so important and significant. So when you get your hand caught in the cookie jar and you're incapable and you start to lie and you start to deceive like I wake up one day and them say, oh, I'm bringing a bus. And the next day, the same bus find itself in a Jamaica house, and then we hear say, is government paying for the bus? The lies people tell, and the conversations to be had about these blue plates. And yeah, if you're on the plate on the bus, it nah have no owner. Bring it to the owner. None. Then nah have no owner. So all the illegalities that come across these things, technicalities and the abuse of processes, it requires a level of integrity that is lost when it comes to making true representations to the public. Anytime governance, anytime you have to seek clarity from governor, from governance, from government about anything, it leaves a doubt, it leaves a stain of oompy scoompy behavior, of unwarranted speculation and skepticism that is not good for government. I just want people to have a good idea of what I'm saying when I'm speaking of that. Because in law, justice is to appear to be done, to be seen to be done. If the appearance of justice is tainted, like look, you have an idiot, and I know this is not the prime minister, because the prime minister is not idle. He says vote JLP for your kids, 40% low crime rate. A percentage, which is a mathematical calculation. That's where we're at. A mathematical calculation for human life. And so this is why context matters, because I know if you come from the ghetto or you come from a place in Spanish Town and a board house and all of these things that uptown people would call the ghetto, the poor people, and they're taking your poor sons and daughters and murdering them and calling them criminals, and there is nothing, no law that can allow them to clear the name and reputation of the family. Because there's a young man named Andrew that was murdered in Juliet Cuthbert constituency in a St. Andrew. Police go to his house and murder him. A very good father, a shopkeeper, not a criminal. And going back to the young man, Shane Clark, I'm gonna call his name so people understand. On my show, you here? I'm live. All right, will do. Yeah, and yeah, going to the police station to report and had to maneuver his way to another police station because police officers in an unmarked pro box. When you know that pro box, yeah, if you save $2,000 for 3 years, you get $74,000. Math again. This is your quoting your minister of finance. $74,000 that you can pay down to get a pro box. They were in an unmarked pro box and attempted to harm the young man. And there's an attempt to ensure that he's removed from the face of this earth. So a plot to unalive a young man that is before the court and that is that is cloaked in the presumption of innocence. A young farmer at that. So I want people to understand that I see Jamaicans for justice. Michael Jackson is with the greatest of effort and concern for human life in keeping with her mandate, speaking out about the extrajudicial killings. And the messaging is always important because at a time when people don't want to die, it's easy to say, boy, I better them dead than we dead. And so it's palatable. It's called the defense of necessity, a defense in law that seldom works. And I can give you a whole line of questions because there was a case called Dudley and Stevenson, not to be confused with the snail case, law students Donahue and Stevenson. Dudley and Stevenson, they were lost at sea, and when they know the boat was coming to rescue them, and when the days were passing, they start to look and say the weaker one is the one we go near, and them let the young man get dehydrated, and they ate him. When they rescued them and they realized that the two older ones ate the younger one, they tried to say we were lost at sea and it was necessary for us to do cannibalism, and the court rejected that and they were charged for murder. The same true holds. The only time the defense ever worked is in Aya Minor, Mary, the conjoined twins, where the court had to painstakingly justify by saying that the parasite twin was is not that they were killing her, they were saving the life of the one that could survive itself. And out of that case, they define when somebody is a human, when you're capable of living and breathing on your own without assistance from birth. And so it is never easy to say. And there is a case called R and Clegg, where the Privy Council, i.e., the House of Lords, whichever one you want to call them, made it clear that even police officers, DCS members, security guards, JDF, soldiers, border patrol, navy, whatever you, marine police, whatever you are, if you are going to deploy self-defense mechanism, the response must be proportionate to the threat. And in Palmer and the Queen, the Privy Council made it quite absolutely clear that excessive force would certainly trump, or I said Trump, no Donald. Yeah, would certainly prevent the defense of self-defense because excessive, as I said, the response must be proportionate to the threat. So it cannot be like the other night we saw on video that there was an allegation that a young man had shoot at the police 2 days before. So they went to his yard, and when he got there, they were videoing and they were caught on tape saying, leg of the gun, and they murdered him. There's no justification for that, respectfully. And we have to value Jamaican life. Every single life is what is important. And to the trolls who have come on to the YouTube, it's freedom of expression. Um, Say whatever you want, feel free to be disruptive. I know that you missed the chance to go to school. That is why when PNP forms the next government, those who don't have CXC, they're one a year for the 5 years is the mandate. At the end of 5 years, Jamaicans who have no CXC should have at least five. We have to get to a place where we educate the society, even those who don't want to be educated because they had bad experiences with teachers. I had teachers who called me ugly. I had teachers when I was in primary school said I should sit at the back because my teeth did chaka chaka. And I went to one of the most prestigious preparatory school as it is right now. we are trying to ensure that we get a bus for the students of one of the most prestigious schools in Jamaica, Stella Maris Preparatory School. And ironically, the principal is still Sister Mary Joseph. And so the experiences that we have when we are young, it may shape us, but as God would have it, you need to know and appreciate that. Again, what God has planned for you, nobody can stop, because whilst going to Stella Maris, I met some of the greatest teachers ever to walk this earth, along with a man who has a son who is Dr. Abrahams, Father Abrahams. If you went to his extra class, trust me, you're probably a brilliant human being right now, wherever you are. So God sent angels onto the face of this earth. And even though I can speak, in my adult life, I came across Miss White, Miss Dorcas White, an attorney who teaches remedies at the law school. When you experience learning from these angels put on earth, Miss Tracy Robinson out of the University of the West Indies, all of them as old as you is right now, if them take them belt and beat you, you'd take the beating, because they have instilled values in you that um, you can't pay for that in no school. So I understand that there are people who miss greatness. If you would have experienced what I experienced yesterday, seeing the pride and joy of a principal out of Titchfield High School, and how she led her devotion, and how the students felt to be a part of something winning, and the type of pride and joy, and big up to the pot cover bosses who led the celebrations with the Zuva Vela Vela Zula, the noise, and something to learn. So I can tell you, getting to a place where all schools, yeah, look at somebody say vote PNP. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that one alone. Yeah, all schools have access to teachers like Tracy Robinson and Dorcas White, Miss Simpson from Stella Maris, Miss Roden, Mr. Abrams, Mr. Tuff out of Meadowbrook High School, um, Damian Crawford as a math teacher. I could go on, but having access to that type of education will change your life. So you won't be caught retarded, right? So I sit down and laugh and say to myself, it is so important that we resist the temptation to do harm to the citizens of this country. We resist temptation. I can tell you the irony of things, because culturally, Jamaica has killed one of the greatest thing, and that is reggae music and dancehall. Jamaicans have done that, because certainly this government would have suppressed music. The Broadcasting Commission suppresses language. In America, you can say to the president, FUCK, whoever, you can call them this. They were horrible to Biden. Biden was horrible to Trump. Kamala was horrible to Trump. They spoke about Hillary Clinton. They said Obama was a Muslim extremist from Al Qaeda. They had so many things to say, and the freedom of speech was preserved. In Jamaica, if you tell the prime minister anything other than him nose is big, I think there are people who are even on this in the comments who are upset that you say the prime minister have 28 bank accounts and has not certified his statutory declarations. He's a pathological liar, because he said things he would do in the first 100 days. He has not done it. He has now revisited the fact that he says you're now going to be able to sleep with your windows and door open, because I have issued the order that you should meet your judge and meet your maker. And since then, more than 100 persons have been meeting have been meeting their maker. And it's a simple thing, you know. Similarly, any given day you go up to Hope Road and you look for yourself, how many persons um, are in the line to get visas to go to America, to go to, I mean, even get visas to go to the UK, to go to first world countries. And while they're while they're going to the first world countries, they want to go and participate and integrate into a society that deals with freedom of expression, that deals with people from all walks of life, minority groups and groups that are protected through that constitution. And it's very ironic that when you come to Jamaica, but let me tell you about the hypocrisy, tried and proven. And I'm gonna set it right here. If a man come on this live and he's fixated with homosexuality, he's a homosexual. I'm gonna tell you that. If a woman come on here and is cursing another woman that she have a big vagina, it's because her vagina is big. Yeah, remember that. If a pastor comes on this program and says that infidelity is if infidelities must stop and speak about fornication and sin, is because they're sinners. So a man think it, so is he. And so while you watch in an election year where government is supposed to say, I have given you water, I've allowed you to feed your families, I have provided roads for you to drive on, I've giving you job opportunities that can change the lives for you and the next generations that follow. Because they can't do that, they have to speak about pastime paradise. Now imagine as a first time candidate, I am hearing that the opposition that I am a part of what they have done, and um I've not been into Gordon House or formed part of a government to have to account for the things that would have done. I heard the Prime Minister of Jamaica say the education system needs to revamp. He put Flavor Williams there. He put Samuda there before. He put Raoul Reed, who was removed because the entire monies that was to be spent on students ended up missing, and he's accused of taking it along with his cronies. Not only that, if you check the past, the ministry that he is a part of, he was the Minister of Education and did nothing in his tenure. The Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness. And he comes to the mic and said something is wrong. But he put Dana there. Yeah, Dora Explorer. He put her there. And we have to speak about that because the education system was never broken. I took common entrance. I know about mental ability. I am a Jamaican educated man. My education comes from Jamaica from primary to tertiary. I am educated. There was a time where you if you can't get in a UE, nothing now go on for you. Right? Just understand that. It is so important. And I sit and I laugh. Look at that. Another troll comes up. And that is what I'm talking about, misrepresentation. Because one thing you can't do and beat me is challenging me where education is concerned. So come up to the table, all of you, members of parliament and ministers or whatever. Show me your first class honors degree and ensure that when you got it, you never end up married. Let me not throw that out because we're not talking about the do a thing for grades program. We're talking about your get using your God given talent, using what God has planned for you. Yeah. I want people to understand that there are some of us, when the Bible speaks, David, yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. The shadow of death is the zombies that walk this earth, the mindless parasites that attach themselves because they have no capacity to do anything greater because they have been programmed. And if you don't emancipate yourself from mental slavery, you're gonna find yourself being led by criminals, defined not by conviction but by conduct, a lack of morality, a lack of honesty, probity, accountability, transparency, inclusion. All of these things are tenets of leadership, and more than anything, the lack of empathy and love for the citizens and people and humanity. So, as I speak on this topic, here are some facts that you must understand. When dealing with temptation, which, and I haven't done it, but let me do it now. The desire to do something, especially something wrong or unwise. Yes? So you have to resist the temptation to do something unwise. And usually, if it's unwise, it's a little bit something like morally wrong or something that just, listen, to your core, when somebody has integrity, a self check mechanism, if it doesn't feel right, you shouldn't be doing it. And so we should also have conversations, people, and understand that there are universal truths and there are universal rights and there are universal wrongs. And we can accept them. Yes? Sambo spelling out context matters. They can't spell like that, Sambo. Go easy on them. They're gonna be like, why is this person putting these letters? What do they mean? But anyway, let's really look at this and break it down. If something is wrong, it doesn't mean you can't do it, because people get married, even if it's for NHT points, even if it's to ensure that they have a roof over their head, they get married. But if they get married for the wrong reasons, it's not sustainable. And then during the marriage, they will cheat, infidelity comes in, and they will breach the vows that they would have, have made to somebody who possibly loved them. Yes? And because of that, um, temptation comes in and they have affairs and many things come from it. Sleeping with multiple people can cause many things: physically, disease; emotionally and spiritually, a dysfunction that deals with a transfer of energy that makes you feel like you are not yourself. The reason why government might be late for a particular parish. Let's say, for instance, you have an appointment in Manchester and you're late because you took vows and you break them so much that you might end up in a parish where your sweetheart is in because you're in the same party. I don't know. And then that cause a whole lot of strife because the sharing and caring and all of that. So I'm not talking about the Vaz family. What are you talking about? I haven't said one thing. Don't even do that. Anyway, so you will find yourself where um that temptation leads to a lot of things. But what God has planned for you, let no man try to take away, or woman. And a lot of times, with the trickery, people will promise you what is yours. For instance, government, I allocate $1.5 billion to fix the road. It's your money. It's not their money. It's your money. They're not giving you anything. It's already yours. In 2025, they want to promise you water. by selling it to you because they take it out of the pipe. And lo and behold, the water will run through the pipe and come with a little E. coli and a little feces here and there and everywhere. But if you're not drinking pure water, I don't know how in 2025 people not ensuring that they drink pure water. I don't know how you're not drink, how people would go to a pipe and drink water with this government after Justice Panton says bring your own water to Parliament. Why do you think that a party that call itself Shower would be providing water that is above board? Miss me with that. But anyway, in the context of what I am saying is people ought to ensure that they are not placed into a situation where they are being tricked and bamboozled for something that is already theirs. If you go on social media, sometimes the African people will show you proverbs, or TikTok will do skits where a man lends another man money and his wife is at home and he calls and said, I'm returning the $10,000 US. And he says, yes, give it to my wife, oh. And he goes to the house and says to the wife, I give this $10,000 now if you give me some of that. Good, good. And she said, you're going to tell my husband? And he said, no, it's good like that. She said, yeah, it's the best. Ungle mengle. Yeah. Um, and just like that, Radam, she takes the 10,000, he does what he has to do, and goes about his business, hands her the money, and then then husband comes home and says, hey, wife, did Bob come and drop off the $10,000 that he owed me? I told him to leave it with you. And she realized that she get shot. So sometimes, or in Jamaica, them have this culture where even when you have a free dance, people so used to jump in the fence, then they come at the gate, them still go jump the fence at the gate wide open, admission free, buy out the bar. Anyway, that being said, I think I would have laid the context as to why we're talking about the temptation and what all the time. It's a simple thing, God's plan. God's plan. What God has planned for you, you sometimes you just have to be still and know that God is God. So I'm taking this opportunity to use my platform to remind people that there's the basic instructions before leaving earth. That is the Bible. It has some serious gems that if we read, especially we used to read it in Sunday school, we used to read it when we were youth and youthful exuberance is wasted on the youth. Now that we are older and some of us have evolved through the education system, through our critical thinking, we have a different understanding and the interpretation makes a lot more sense as we come into the understanding. Well, let me just share with you Matthew 4, verse 1 to 11. Jesus is tested in the wilderness. And hear this. It says that when Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, if you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread. Yes? And here this is what Jesus answered. It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. Always recognizing that it's God who have the power, not man. So the lesson in just that part of it is that people are gonna say, yeah, because I'm hearing it now. If you be the next MP, fix the road, cause me tired of the road. Fix the water, give me water, I mean not do nothing. But I will say this, government is responsible for doing those things. And if the ones who are in power are not doing it and have not done it, the simple answer is to remove them. any attempt to do it with just 2 3 2 months, I give him 2 months. Got anything more than 2 months, the handcuffs them a jingle. So him about 2 months left to call the election. Otherwise, jingle, jingle, it won't be the bells that is a part of that party. But you can't make people tempt you and draw you out to show that you have the ability to do something. And so here's a man that could feed 10,000 and 5,000 and turn water into wine, yeah, and all of these things. And the devil will say, "If you are the son of God," and people always say, "If you know maths, what is 100 times 200?" And ask you to prove thyself. Well, the devil then took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. And he says, "If you are the Son of God," he said, "throw yourself down, for it is written, He will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." And let me tell you something. In all my endeavors, Psalms 121 has been a saving grace for me in communicating with God. And if you lift your eyes up to the hills from whence cometh your help coming from the Lord. It is the Lord who make heaven and earth. So he will not suffer thy foot to remove. But what I want people to know, you see, is that Jesus answered him, and it says, "It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." So you can't make people out there test you. You can't make people make a call upon God for prove them wrong. The day him do it enough, in part the sea for Moses and Pharaoh lose him whole army. Ain't nobody's gonna say you must bring your rod and your staff. Can bring the rod, you know. Huh. For who can handle it? She can't handle it. Anyway, so again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdom of the world and their splendor. "All this I will give you," he said, "if you will bow down and worship me." Well, Jesus said to him, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." Then the devil left him and angels came and attended him. So Jesus never yield to temptation. And let me tell you something. Don't make no boy or no girl bow up your spirit. Don't make nobody make empty promises to you. And they're gonna come. And they're gonna give you $5,000, sometimes 10, sometimes even 50. They're gonna trick you and say, "Come take a work and give you a fake farm card." They're gonna come and say, "Just make me your MP." Yeah. They might say, "Make me your MP. I'm gonna give you everything." They are going to lie. They're in there now, and I say, "Give me just give me the third term. I'm gonna do it this time." Let no man promise you what God has already planned for you. Let no man. Follow thy spirit and follow thy mind, and open your ears, your heart, and your soul. This is a reality, because you hear Kendrick Lamar said, "They not like us." Try and remember this. It is us against them. There is an elite class in Jamaica, and let me tell you something. They don't love you. They have no compassion and no empathy for you. And for the last 9 years, they never included you. They admitted, Montague admitted that they neglected you. The Prime Minister said, "Yeah, I'm coming to do it this time. We're going to include you in the economy because the economy is good," but it was never good for you. 99% of the access to the beach has been taken away and given to their friends and the tourism sector. No other Caribbean island in the entire Caribbean has done what Jamaica has done with beach access laws. And so when people come and make false promises and promise, say them are gonna bring in this a system and them are gonna do this and all for years, 18 years that them and they down a West Portland and him just know say Picnic need school bus. 6 years to Teachfield come there and them win school challenge quiz without school bus. Yes, country school, bright, 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 bright young people. And I'm almost, me now ask, Christ, if you check it, them parents are good with PNP. I now ask, because PNP is a party that believe in education, not just for their family and their elites, but for all. And so yeah, I will not pot cover and I will run up and down when I see young, especially young black men and women with the futures bright because access to education is important to transform the poverty, to transform the trickery, to transform the wicked, and even knowing that even when you achieve and become an attorney like me, there will be those who hate you because you have achieved success. Yes, because you have achieved in a field that they say was never for a black man with dreadlocks. They were achieving a field that they said was never for a black man who experienced rehabilitation. Because this government has sanctioned extrajudicial killings. Because they have not figured out how to have proper investigation, how to access the court, and how to deal with the presumption of innocence and due process and respect for constitutional rights. So for me, when I talk about temptation, I know all I can say to the people of Jamaica: resist temptation, resist the temptation to be bribed by all these billions of dollars being allocated into spaces that's not being fixed. $1.5 billion to have a road patching project. So as rainfall, the potholes them return. No fixed and structured, targeted, strategic plans to improve the lives of the people of Jamaica. Roads leading to nowhere because people still don't have houses to live in. A parish as big as Portland, a constituency as big as Portland Eastern, where the Jamaica Labour Party since 1962 has only built 11 houses. 11 double digits, 1 1. 1 1. You know what I'm saying? 22, 1 1. Yeah. And so, whatever you call it, I will submit to the people that and call it just that project vote buying, the ability to circumvent the gall of people and these promises and breaking grounds and say you put in town centers and parks to tempt people into false prosperity, knowing you have no intention into ensuring that individual lives are better. Because again, I remind people every chance I get to be a human being on the world index, the economic index in this world, you have to be making 600,000 Jamaican dollars a month. If you're not doing that, that's probably why human rights is shunned in Jamaica at a time when we have the most robust human rights mechanism. So yeah, I'm always there to look at that. And oh, let me take this opportunity to say, I've been using um hair dye just for me to cover my gray hairs. And I realized when somebody said, I thought you're filled with so much wisdom, how is this possible? But the gray hairs I'm not gonna hide. So big up Basil and Kurt, cause them me say I run around with them big dirty gray hair. And I realized If somebody can look like a bullfrog and say, yo, anyway, let me Taffy, you're supposed to pull me up, you know. But I'm living my truth. Back then I used to use just a man. Now I'm just being natural. I woke up like this. I believe that around. You know, it ain't too late to come into it and realize that, you know, you have to love you in your skin. It's called self-love. So even age, when I look at how police wake up January morning and decide that they're gonna just murder people before them even reach 21. A 15-year-old was murdered in a cadre of young men murdered this week alone, six in one day. And I just said to myself, you know something? I am happy and blessed to be 46, an accomplished attorney who has gone all the way to the Privy Council because I never sell out. I never yield to temptation. And when the people them did I say, allow him make him dead at prison because the man they kill enough people. What you help him for? No senior attorney could tell me that. I stood my ground and I fight for what is right because you can't buy out Isaac, the son of Big U, the grandson of James Samuel Portius and the son of Jordan Portius. Can't buy me out. No secrets in no closet for Isaac Buchan. So for that, my expression is free. And that is important for people to know. And so, yeah, all these teeth are mine, no fake teeth. None. All of them are mine. Real, real, real. Yeah, my eyes too, brown. Some are gray hair. So we're rocking it now. So we come into self-actualization as we go around and realize the importance that we love. Oh, but for the record, yeah, this is my here. It's all of it is mine. It's real. Um, from 2008. So we're now in 2025. My math is bad, but a whole heap of years that you get the point. I think that's about 17 years and counting. So God is good. Um, Donna say, I saw with the heart and say, go on. No, I'm just sharing because this is the week for being honest and talking about what their deficiencies are. I never had them though. I grew up in a house where my mother had three dark skinned kids and two really light ones. Zamba and Roxanne was light skinned. And then I had two sisters that was really red. Maria was literally white with green eyes. You know? Because some little inferior blood was in our family. Big youth, you have to go work that out. But I used to look at my brothers and sister with the dark skin, and I used to say how beautiful they were because blackness is just, pitchy patchy and look like a damnation, like you suffer from vertigo when the sun hit you. But when you cuss them, you just look upon them because you know, say you're a bad man and say you're black and ugly, like, go away. And they just would shut down. I remember two students when I was teaching at the university, and I spoke of the black card, and they shut down too. But two of them, they both graduated and have become attorneys. And young Iqbal is a great attorney, right? Responsible for freeing dancehall people, you know. So great achievements from black men. But you'll appreciate that it is important to reintroduce self-love, reintroduce love for black identity. And so when you come across the Justice Sykes and you come across the Bert Samuels and you come across Bolt, you come across greatness through blackness in every field. Yeah, you have to big them up because it represents. And so one of the things about Afrobeats and the African artists with the Burner Boys and Davidos is that there has been a market, even Thames. When you look at Thames and you see what she has achieved, knowing that she's black and she's beautiful and the color of her skin never stopped her from getting where she has gone. Um, Naomi Campbell. There's a young man that had won Mr. Jamaica. Don't know his name, but blackness is greatness. And so use understanding that when my locks grow from my head is my strength. I was in church and they read the story of Samson, and you shout out to all the Delilahs because all you do is do your part so that when the enemies come, they all die. Because if people think that when you come across the Samsons, the strength of a man like all me now, it ain't easy to take me down. And then I can tell you, Zambo on the line, what do you say about my brother? You don't talk nothing about my brother because I said so. Yeah, we roll out. So you have to know that. Sue McDove said Lisa Evers with Adesha Palmer on Fox 5 was indeed worthy of respect. Yeah, man, blessings, Lisa Evers. And that's another thing also. As I'm raising that, one can appreciate that it takes great intellect to make the proper assessment that when you're looking at two leaders, Mark Golding as a white man that has more love for black people than black people in this country is an amazing feat because again self-love includes understanding and appreciating the reality, understanding and appreciating the reality that it is intelligence and human relations, that you don't fall victim to race conversations, because respect must come from everywhere, no matter race, class, culture, creed. The Constitution, the spirit of the Constitution demands that. But for somebody like me who exists and feeds off of self love and understanding that when God made me, He made me perfect. I'm lacking nothing. So I have to laugh. I saw a video and somebody said, "Why is he walking like that?" And I'm saying, yo, big people problems. It's heavy. It's got a lot to carry around. You understand? It's just the reality. And I mean, yeah, God ain't bless everybody, but He blessed me. You see what I'm saying? So, when you're not lacking anything, to be educated, to be black, to have all strong features, big hands, big feet, big lips, big nose, big head, plural. You know, someone said, "Ain't nobody asked you that, my brother. You said so." But I'm just using this to put into context that when you're not lacking when you're not lacking because you're packing, your confidence level is just through the roof. And to add to that, education, because I know there's people who I guess physically God has blessed them aesthetically more than anybody else, but they lack the education prowess, the intellectual capacity. So a celebration of intellect is one that I can tell you. Just go back and watch the videos, man. You hit that pot cover because that celebration of greatness of it wasn't it was educational success. Knowledge is power, and just the ability to be able to articulate. Some would call it beautiful speaking, but I call it intellect. I call it the ability to understand, comprehend, contextualize, critically analyze. It is just amazing, and instantly to learn in spaces, because the the Jamaican culture is ripe with creativity. So if you're somebody who you cannot afford a Venezuela, Zella Villa, Venezuela, the thing will make noise, but you go for your pot cover and you knock the two, pass it, dutchy panic, yeah. So like a man like me, we can't cook and have a whole heap of pot cover. I bear problems in other people them life now. And in my pot, so the pot covers now gonna be missing. You know what I'm saying? It's a vibe, it's a vibe, it's a vibe. But anyway, so time signal. You saw walking in Vuvuzela. Vuvuzela. Yeah. Parlez-vous français? Yeah. So it probably happened already, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Because they did tell me that it was coming and I didn't do it. But I'm gonna do it now.
It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
All right, so back to what I was saying now, just to add some more context. Identifying temptation is always going to be the key because we are in temptation season. Election season is temptation season. And so take up your Bible and ask your politicians if them are tempt you and if them are bribe you and if they're making empty promises. So the Bible contains several stories about temptation. We know about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness. But it highlights the nature of temptation and the power of sin and the importance of resisting evil because that's what it is. If people understood that George William Gordon and Paul Bogle died for voting rights, died died so black people could participate in the electoral process, the process which excluded Marcus Garvey, not because he wasn't worthy, but because people had figured out how to keep a black man down. And he died of a broken heart. Finds himself on a money by himself. Yeah, just remember. Now, um, Satan disguised himself as a serpent, tempted Eve to eat the forbidden fruit, fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, promising knowledge and enlightenment. So Eve shared it with Adam. She shared the fruit with Adam, and leading to their disobedience to God and expulsion from the Garden of Eden. And it's the first act of disobedience. That's what that is about. Um, Now, basically, when you look at the whole thing with Jesus and the temptation, Jesus fasted, So if you ever know what it is for 40 days and 40 nights, imagine fasting for the last 9 years under this current government. They leave you in the wilderness for 9 years and counting, carrying it right down to the wire to come out of the fasting. And it's at that time, right after you fast and you hold your belly and you bang your belly and you deal with high prices and you deal with all of the exclusion from the promised prosperity, which was actually a lie. And you come into this reality now and look at that. Lo and behold, Lo and behold, follow me now, because this is the reality. Lo and behold, after them do all of that, yeah, it is your refusal to succumb to temptation that will show that you recognize the importance of trusting um, in God, because what He has promised for you and what He has planned for you, it let no man try to take away. So if it is now that, let's talk about God's plan. And I often just like to use myself as an example in terms of what God has planned for you. Because there are people, and I've seen it. When we have conversations about mental health, and when we're talking about hitting rock bottom, and we're talking about being being stuck between a rock and a hard place, um, you would tend to find, thank you for that, social work, you would tend to find that the rock and hard place situations leave you with a double-edged sword. So no matter which edge you grab, you're gonna get the cut in your hand. But it is what God has planned for you, and this is what shapes you and molds you. It is the things that um cause you to get out all that you need to get out of you. For instance, if you are afraid and you're afraid, if you imagine being afraid of lizard, and then you do a case where lizard ends up missing. You can't afraid of lizard anymore, because you know that if a lizard trouble you, just cut it up fine, fine, don't something like that. All right, that's just a euphemism. Or imagine doing a being afraid to swim, and then you get a work on a cruise ship, and you have to overcome your fear of water. And probably the greatest thing to do in a situation like that is learn how to swim. So there's always a knowledge component, that a lot of the fears that we have is because of a lack of knowledge. Like even understanding that lizards and insects and even reptiles, the alligator and all that, it's not that them can't bite you and hurt you, it's that they have a spirit inside of them, and they sometimes will fear you, but things have an ability to smell fear. Not all things, but tuning into the spirituality will cause you to have a deeper understanding and appreciation of nature. Sometimes when things not bothering you, leave it alone. There's no need to be inquisitive with some things. Yeah. So in my mind, if you find yourself in the spaces where things seems hopeless and things seem impossible and things seem like me here itch up in the chair here, that's why I'm here bring it over, excuse me. And things seems impossible. It is important to learn, understand, and appreciate, for lack of a better word, to appreciate um, that the situations you find yourself in from years ago to now is building you and molding you for something greater. And so, as life is a process. Complete the process, jack back, nothing like that. Here in a chair. Funny. Yeah. When you complete the process, and you grow from the process. So life is, that's why there is never a situation where you find yourself losing, because everything that you do is a learning process. Walking in the vine is, you need, all know I don't say you put up the GoFundMe, we don't talk about that, put up the GoFundMe account, so that the people know, because I have to show up to Teachfield on Monday, and I need to give these students them prizes. So I need to drop the GoFundMe as a part of the celebration. And don't embarrass me. Anyway, oh yeah, so donate to the GoFundMe, $10. $10. Anyway, oh, watch out, Petra says she did put it up. Did you donate Petro E? Are you on empty? The E mean empty? Yeah, but anyway, the point I was making is dealing with God's plan. And while we're at it, I was to share with you. Let me just do it right now because I was to share this. I don't know how I don't know how I did forget this. But it's here, honest, I mean it. Yeah, so we go. Did it work? Is that it? I don't know. All right. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. I had promised this young man to share his um his book with him. So Carlos Brown, um, The Great Realization is the name of the book. It is available um, on Amazon and locally from the author. So you can contact him for the book, but the book is called The Great Realization. I was actually given a copy of this book, and I'm inviting persons to get your copy. Contact the author 1-876-344-4084, and deal with that accordingly. Have a conversation, learn about the book, and if you have um, dealt with this self-help book, from the great realization, you may find yourself with the ability to resist temptation. After all, that's what this topic is about. You have to realize because you have some devils in disguise. Yeah? So give this man your support. Check out the book. Reading is fundamental and increase your vocabulary. Yeah? I'm not pandering, but literally, you might want to do that. So I'm gonna leave it up there. Any questions as you go along? You let me know. Right. Hmm. Yeah. Leave it there for a bit. Uh, Blessing, speak it into existence, Albert C. All right now, the aim is to ensure that we elect Marky G and also me as a part of his government. Now, we definitely need to have an understanding of what God has planned for you in your life. If you appreciate that everything that's happening in your life is God's plan, and you can feel it in your soul, So sometimes He's removing you from spaces that you don't need to be in, for whatever reason it is. You have to be able to appreciate that He's clearing out. And that's why water, the idea that water is a conversation, water is cleansing. And sometimes you have to just wash away all the filth, wash away all of the corruption, wash away all of the cockroach them, but we not preach. We not sound like a particular pastor. But to say you have to take it out, you have to take them out. I have to do away with all of that. Yes? And this is so important. I see them bigging up Anthony R, and they're bigging up, I don't know, there's a lot of people bigging up, but it missed me. Right? Angela said, but the filth in the water right now. Well, that is it. You know, that is the whole thing about shooting the messenger. There in this country, nobody wants you to speak up. I get a lot of ridicule for speaking up for what is right, and a lot of cursing for having the courage to stand up to illegality, to stand up to breaches, to constitutional breaches. It is important that you always maintain integrity and always stand up for what is right. It is also important that people recognize that even the things that are wrong, as long as you recognize that it is wrong, even when you go on to do it, you should not be setting out on a mission to change what people know to be wrong or to rationalize the things, because that it leads to insanity. And there are some of us like me who exist. It is 90. Yes, it is important that you are there. So again, Chris, you will let me know when people are calling you for the book. Big up yourself. Again, The Great Realization, a self-help book. Enhance your critical thinking and your ability to find self-love through a book such as this, because that is what is happening, People are searching for that. It is important. I always maintain it is important to maintain good family relations. It is important to know your identity, know from whence you came. Yes? So that is important. Right. So again, when people are thinking about God's plan, if you know that God has a plan for you, when temptation comes your way, you can resist it. And the reality is, if it never happened during the time it was supposed to happen, it's simply not for you. And you don't have to force anything, and you don't have to continue to be misguided and misled by a class of people who simply lied to you the first time. And so resist the temptation to go back to the abuse that you have experienced by the hands of the current government, because that's what it is. Today, let me just say no, because I know that in Portland, based on the numbers that I'm seeing, that a lot of people in Portland, I now have farm boots, because I know it is needed, and I have some farming paraphernalia. That's what I'm going to call it. So if you're having trouble getting down that banana and these things and stuff like that, there are devices now available for that. So farmers, reach out. Your time come. Gonna be assisting with some of the tools that are needed, and water boot is one of them. You have to protect your foot. You understand? So when night come, you step in night. Night a come. Time come. You get me? I don't think they get me, They don't get it. Just in case them don't know. Time come, When time come, night come.
Step in it, night a come. Look here, keep we are so step in it. Step in there.
Never, never, never. So yeah, we get the water boat. Is it true we get the water boat? What we tell them? I will look for them and tell them, say, what we tell them? What we tell them? Night coming up.
Step in it, night have come. Look, you keep we are so step in it. Step in there. Party goal.
Yep, you heard it. Let me see what. Yeah, it's 90 US dollars for the tablet. If someone is asking. Yeah. That was for walking in divine. But as it is right now, like I say, it is that much easier. That time of year where you're not pressuring anybody. So rather than one person send 90, 10 persons or 9 persons can send 10. So it's strength in numbers. So $1 a day can go a long way for care packages. $1 a day can go a long way for water boots and machetes and all of those things. So many things. The needs are many because the people have been neglected. If you listen to the cry of people from ply to zinc to blocks to everything that's needed, it makes sense. 11 houses was what the Jamaica Labour Party built in Portland Eastern since 1962. That's so significant because I say this all the time, and I always have to go back to um, what I witnessed with St. Vincent 2,800 houses after burial, and the way it was done is phenomenal because while Jamaica suffers from food security and majority of Jamaicans are not meeting the first stage of Maslow's laws of hierarchy, food, clothes, and shelter is a real problem. I want people to understand that quality of life is so important. Two people can be in the same spaces, but how how they live in that space determines the difference in the quality of life. And so, as we deal with the reality of race, class, and culture, and all of these things, I'm sure we can appreciate in no uncertain terms where Jamaica needs to be, where we are now, as in what our reality is, and what we want for the people of Jamaica. So, young people, we're talking about housing, and I'm stressing it because the next PNP government says to you, we're giving you $500,000 as a grant towards your first home. It means that going into the workforce, even as you study and dropping your NHT, you can do that, drop it little, little and study. And once you drop your NHT and you reach to that level, you get the grant and you own your home. But also to own your house, there must be affordable housing solutions. So they must build a house and you don't have to worry about find land. You don't have to worry about that in Portland, which is why them a take time try to sell out everything. You don't believe me? Google Portland. Yes? Somebody with the name Andrew Holden has said justice for Keisha Prince, Kamika, and Diane Smith. What who is Diane Smith? Why are you typing that? Why are you saying justice for Diane Smith? Why are you saying Portland? What is that? Andrew Holness mix up bad, as in the account holder. Anyway, yeah, it's a fake page. We know, but I see him put that up. But it's interesting. Anyway, to sanitize the space. Probably walking in divine. You want to deal with the fake profiles, so people don't think that the prime minister is idle. Anyway, yeah. So we have to look at that as a whole and resist the temptation to have people tell you that you shouldn't want to own a home as a young person. You shouldn't want to leave your wow. Petro E, did you just do that? Let me check for myself because I'm being told that you donated $500 to the tablet drive just now, or to the zinc fund, to the whatever. But I think it's a tablet drive. But if you did that, you just gave the Teachfield students them tablets for winning school challenge quiz. So let me check. Let me check right now, now. Hmm. Yeah. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Big up also Tesha Brown. For your donation. We not go on big man, big things popping. We're now at 40%. So as we keep this going, in no time, we're gonna be at the 10% mark, the 50% mark in terms of reaching a goal for the tablet drive and for the paraphernalia. I call it paraphernalia, but the supplies, whether it be water tank, whether it be whatever. But like I said, water boots have come in. Respect to this to our diaspora and the sponsorship. The diapers, the depends are coming as well, and that's needed because I've been going around the constituency and identifying older persons who are in yo Kern, what water boot for you out, Mr. Kern, big up yourself on the live. Um and the other um devices used for in farming. Yeah. So again, shout out to the anonymous person that just dropped that $500. Somebody can match it if they want. Who's gonna match it? But like I said, $10, $10. Albert, why you said Dan Smith is the Immaculate Conception High School girl who was raped and murdered on her way to school on Stony Hill Road? Just about man. Boy, the history, I don't know. Probably I wasn't even born them time then. Or just too young to know. Jamaica has always been a high crime society. Yeah. Yeah, so resist the temptation to get into the pasa and mix up. But once again, we appreciate the donations, no matter how small it is. Um, Easter come, and you know what that mean. I don't know nothing that call it bun for bun. Easter come, bun for bun, and make sure the cheese is tasty and not Kurdish. Um, or somebody say I wasn't born then. Wow. No green bun, that a Jonjo. Sis Winnie. Yep. Let you know I go on. So yeah, I think if there I'm not seeing any questions in the Ven Love said she was a student of Stella Maris when she was murdered. Want to know the history, man? Who did they say kill her? Anybody know? Okay. All right. Yeah, there we go. Hello, good night. I'm good, I'm live. I call you back right as I finish my life. All right, all right. Okay, yes. Yes, somebody said the killer killed her. Okay, very well. Um, Somebody said, is the 10% tariff going to affect the price of her tablet? I feel that's why they bring the 10%. I can see the Prime Minister saying, say that Rasta boy down in Portland giving out tablets. And they're gonna educate the kids. Run a 10% tariff so we can stop them from getting tablets. Oh wow. Hilarious. Anyway, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. In Florida, I have depend for the old people, them shipping to price up. Can you tell me if when take over market can cut down the shipping? I think the depends for old people coming should be free. I think I think things like wheelchair, things like anything that's being donated to the less fortunate shouldn't be taxed. And these are things that can be regulated. There are persons with charities and foundations that get exemptions to do that. So I think that's really what it is. So that's my thought. I'm just responding to that. But definitely, shout out to the anonymous donor for the tablets and the $500 towards it. Fully appreciated in every single way. And I must say, big up to the Crookshank family, yes, and the Titchfield crew. Yeah, the what I really wanted to get at, and I don't think that I did a good job of that. So let me see if I can re rethink. Let me see how best I can rethink that. Here we go. Um, it's right here. Right. So let me just what is always important. Remember, I told you that context matters. So I'm taking the last few um the last few minutes to put context to the temptation story so that when you leave here you know what is expected of you to identify temptation, resist temptation. Because for instance, you see when you go Casbar have a bartender. She's had many bartenders, but you got that bar in Portland, Castradamus Bar. There's a bartender there. No, you see, if you don't like drink, just go buy some drink just so you can pay the bartender. And then that song came out. I like the bartender. Ooh, if you wanna with me, like the drink. We drink and we drunk it, got drunk, and I know that she thinks I'm cool. I don't have auto tune, so sorry about that. But anyway, big up to the bartender. All right, so let's talk about it now. Um, Setting the stage. Three places in the Bible that you'll see the temptation story, and it's found in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. It recounts how Satan's attempted to tempt Jesus after he was baptized and led by the Holy Spirit into the desert to fast for 40 days. Jesus resisted three specific temptations: to turn stone into bread, to throw himself from the temple, and to worship Satan for the kingdoms of the world. And Jesus repelled each temptation by quoting scripture, ultimately proving his devotion to God. Ultimately letting Satan know that he's relying on God's plan. Temptation versus God's plan. But notice the first one was to turn stones into bread. People giving you work that can't change your life. Resist the temptation to settle for less. To throw yourself into the temple. Sometimes life gets so hard you will feel like you want to kill yourself. But if you are not around, believe me, you can go to the worst places in life. Can you imagine if some people had checked out? Persons incarcerated, if you give up on yourself because they give you a life sentence, there is an appeal. And if God has your name on an appeal, God's plan for you, only man can just say things, but it don't mean nothing if God have a bigger plan for you. Nelson Mandela walk out of prison after 27 years. Vibes Cartel walk out of prison after 13 years, given a life sentence. Many other persons given life sentences and walk out. I could call somebody now, but I'm not big him up, but I know he's the luckiest man alive. Shout out to my brethren. But I just use that to say that what God has planned for you, let no man stop. And I'm telling you, retribution is a hell of a thing. Because sometimes, remember, death is final. And when people come and take your life, this is for anybody. In the absence of a justification, unaliving is murder. And we must resist the temptation to justify slackness and justify breaches of the constitutional right to life. Now, let me elaborate and set the stage. After Jesus' baptism by John the Baptist, the Holy Spirit led him to the desert to face spiritual trials. Let's break down the three. Bread from stones. The devil suggested that Jesus, being the Son of God, should turn stones into bread to satisfy his hunger. After the 40-day fast, Jesus responded that man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. Let's talk about the temple throw, which is the devil provoking you to do something that would ultimately take your life. The devil then took Jesus to the highest point, up a Blue Mountain peak, Mount Everest behavior. Imagine being a maroon and somebody will tell you to jump off of the cockpit country. The devil then took Jesus to the highest point of the temple and suggested he throw himself down, claiming angels would protect him. Jesus countered with, "You shall not put the Lord your God to the test." So faith without works is dead. Just because you say, "Oh my God is the greatest," don't mean that you're going to go in a plane and jump out, expecting that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego going to come under your wings and make you fly. Because you will meet your maker. And Andrew says so. So suicide is a no-no. Let's talk about kingdoms of the world. This is the third one. And this is the political one. Finally, the devil showed Jesus all the kingdoms of the world and offered them in exchange for his worship. Jesus rejected this, stating, "Worship the Lord your God and serve only him." Only one God, no man. So when they will come around and say, "I'm going to give you the market, I'm going to extend the runway, I'm going to give you a school bus, I'm going to give you anything you want, just vote for me and give me a third term, so me and my family can get the chance to rob you." Why? But you tell them, we worship the Lord, our God, and serve him only. Don't ever forget that. You are not for sale. We are not for sale. Don't ever forget that. So the response, Jesus consistently refused each temptation by quoting scriptures, demonstrating his obedience to God and reliance on his word. I thought it necessary to narrate that, not just by the actual words, but to narrate it. I said it earlier in the first hour. And what really this is about is keeping in tune and saying to yourself almost like an affirmation that God has a plan for me. God has a plan for me. And so whatever I'm going through, God has a plan for me. So you see me, I never worry because it always comes together. It always works itself out. And God will put the words in your mouth and the meditation in your heart to make sure it's acceptable in His sight. If you be still and know that God is God. And nobody, do it and beat me, nobody can overcome what God has planned for you. You don't believe me? Ask the Titchfield High School Challenge quiz team. Ask those four young gentlemen and ask the coaches and look back, because some of them just get on board. Some people don't watch school challenge quiz until them school in the finals. But just know that team was the third place team. And as fate would have it, the team drop out. St. Jago must have St. Jago, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but St. Jago drop out because something about them turn some big man, 20-year-old, something man, whatever the rules were. And they were called back. And then when you look at it, JC was 27. Big celebration this week, PJ Patterson birthday party. I got there JC tomorrow, 90-year-old, be there or be square. You know what I'm saying? But I just know this, man. It is what God has planned for you, they can't take from you. And I was having a conversation about the 2002 winter Salt Lake City Olympics, and the girl's name was Kerry Hugh or something like that. And at that time, with figure skating, Michelle Kwan was America's sweetheart, and Oksana Bayol from Russia, and Sarah Bonolay from France. These were some big Christina Amaguchi. These were some Nancy Kerrigan and the girl, the liquor, whatever. Anyway, why do I know all of this? I'm going to tell you why. Because the girl who won the Olympics, the only way this girl could win gold at the Olympics is if everybody dropped. You hear me? The only way she could win gold at the Olympics. That's how she was a basic skater. No disrespect to her. Yeah, Tanya Harding is the girl with the baseball bat. That's funny. But anyway, everybody dropped, and the girl win the girl win the gold medal. And she never skates after that, and she couldn't place after that, and she never turned pro, and she just called it a day. Not Nancy Kerrigan. Yeah, we call her that. Her name, let me tell this, because Sarah Hugh. Sarah Hugh. Yeah, Sarah Hughes, American figure skater. She's now 39 years old. Um, Let me see. That's her. That's her. And that's a show in the car. I don't make these things up. She became she was on the American Olympic team. Nobody expected her to win. Then for her to win, all the other skaters had to drop. And in Salt Lake City, all of them dropped. So what for you? So you say, all right, no, you can imagine them have both, them have this, them have that, but are you for win? Both big toe with a buck, or them thieving money out of SSL and him so stress out of that him no bother go run. Asafa Powell, hamstring injury, Justin Gatlin. Let me leave him alone. He's a cool guy. But the point I'm making is when it all comes together, like when you watch the Olympics, some of the people who end up winning gold never expect them to win, not even on the radar. Yeah? So you can, let me just give you an example. People in a prison get all of the biggest King's Council and all of that, and as fate would have it, none of them can release them because God said, just like David, with the people of them big army, and God just said, little farmer, yeah, with your sheep. Take this slingshot, and you say, God, where you tell me? Go on over this and pull the slingshot back and just do what you do. And me, I go make sure, say, when it goes up, fetching wing, 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 you take down the mighty beast. Because God has that plan for you. And if you fall into the human aspect of it, you will think it's your greatness, but it's God's greatness. It is God which exalts the human being and put them where they are. And when you forget what your destiny is, and you start to curse God and you start to become blasphemous, God will put you in your rightful place and humble you. And that is it. All I'm here is to preach God's plan, God's plan, God's plan, God's plan. That's all. I want people to know and recognize that. So when the head of your army is God, just like Moses, I'm gonna give you the staff and say, go on over there. But I'm not really the staff because Damien did bring the staff. So me bring the rod. Yeah. And say, bring it down. Sometimes, have, people all over unhappy. Yeah, so thy rod and thy staff will comfort. So I bring the rod, as people of Portland did miss the staff. Yeah. And that rod of correction, because when Moses put on him rod, and Pharaoh name up fear snake them, when Pharaoh rub him over. Don't forget it, two against one. And one take down them. So you say that is power, power, power. Just to make it known, because I preach so people understand that when you start to walk in the spirit, the people will feel the spirit. Like when God said, "Me I gonna send the plague, put the blood over your door, because everything crocodile teeth." So if we not see, we know who is God's people, they shall perish. And Pharaoh is the one that called on this plague and a him firstborn dead. Some man who have planned for him family and him family only. And now who are gonna end up suffer? The man will only think about him family alone. Them end up in the wilderness, and Pharaoh lose him whole family and him whole army. And Moses walk and take them to the promised land. Not vast land, the promised land. So anybody feel that they own God's land, the promised land, Portland, them have a big thing coming, a rude awakening, and what God has planned. No amount of money that is robbed, thief, bamboozled, washed ashore, converted into currency will change the destiny that what God has planned. So I say that with the greatest amount of humility, that the currency brought by Isaac Buchanan is backed by God with no apology, and I leave it right there. So do not yield to temptation, but be like Jesus. Matthew 4:1-11. They will come at your door 3 times. They will promise you the world. They will tell you jump off, and they will tell you, since you don't need we, prove, say who you are dependent on, I gotta do it for you. Make them do it now. And if them can't do it, well, just know this. Just tell them. Drake said it. God's plan. Yeah? And I'm going to leave it like that. I want to thank everybody for listening, because this is a message that came to me in church. And I know a lot of people is not going to be around to say, why is Isaac preaching? Context matters. Sometimes where people are gathered, church have to keep. And I'm doing that. And as I continue to be proud of being a part of a celebration in Portland and the love I receive and welcome by a community of the future of the brightest of Jamaica at Titchfield High School. Fret not thyself because we are going to buy some paint and paint up your prospect. Because when I leave them out of the celebration at my school that. So when the head boy called me and say, yo, me see you over Titchfield, we want some paint. We want to celebrate too. That's what you call advocating for you. And so shout out to the head boy of Fair Prospect we say, yo, run some paint. For them pending Labor Day project. After all, I adopted them, right? I tell you, I love the energy. Big up on yourself, and thanks for watching. And for those of you who stayed around, even knowing that this topic was highly religious and usually people shy away from interacting and interfacing with the Word of God. But I can tell you, the Word of God will keep you sane. It will keep you whole, and it will enhance your survival mechanism so that your integrity and your human dignity isn't lost because the government of the day has put us all into separation. That is a fact that he who feels it knows it. But again, I will end this show with the words of Kendrick Lamar. They are simply not like us. Blessings.
It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way. It took some time to understand, yeah, just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Like growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life. To laugh and to cry. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life. To laugh and to cry. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep you stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep you stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving. Moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, that's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep your head up, yeah. Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Cause everything's gonna be alright.